Hi guys, and welcome back to this 10-day postpartum challenge. Today we're really going to be focusing on the back, the hips, the legs and bum, areas that get really weak for mums and the parts that we need to be really strong to live our daily lives. You are going to need a chair or something like that. You don't need one, but it's a good idea. And something to perform a row with. So a dumbbell would be great, even if you just have a 1 kilo dumbbell, like that's awesome. If not, just use a water bottle or a can or anything. It's just for the technique. It doesn't really matter how much weight you're using. So let's get started. We're gonna start on our back with a glute bridge today, okay? So starting up by warming up the bum. Now lots of people do glute bridges really wrong and they don't feel their bum working at all. So most people have their feet together with the glute bridge. So I want you to take your feet wider apart, about to the edge of a yoga mat if you have one, and where your feet were when you were doing the squat yesterday. Was it yesterday? So we're gonna hinge our hips up from the floor here, push our hips towards the ceiling, and push your knees out over the toes. You should already feel your bum coming back down and then back up. Okay, so we're just gonna go up and down like this. We're gonna do about 10 reps. If you can't feel your bum, it's usually because your feet are too close together, okay? If they're parallel, you're not gonna feel it. I know this is how they teach it in Pilates, but I want you to take your feet a little bit wider. You wanna make sure your feet aren't too far away from your bum and that they're not too close either, because then you won't feel the glutes switching on. Push those knees out over the fourth toe, a little bit wider than you think you should, and really try and squeeze your bum muscles. Also, we're trying not to arch at the back. We're trying to keep the spine straight and really focus on getting these muscles in your bum working. Okay, you might not have felt that before because you're doing your glute bridges like this and you're not getting the full extension. Okay, we're going to come up and remember that squat that we did in strength 1? Where we had our feet about this width apart. If you want to, you can try and come into your deep squat and find that stance, the distance in your feet. And we were doing a squat, knees going out over the toes, bum back, chest forward, knees forward, and zigzagging down. Okay, if that felt easy, what you're going to do is take a step forward, and you're going to go a little bit lower. Okay. So you go wherever feels good for you. Some of you might be able to get all the way down to your bum being below your knees. You remember you want to keep your back straight, and so you don't want to round like this. Okay, so bum as low as you can and standing back up. You want to make sure that your knees are going out over your toes and they're not falling in like this when you come up. Okay, keep pushing them out. Push them out as you stand up. Whatever level's right for you, you might still just be here on your chair, and that's totally fine. Okay, cool. So next exercise, we are going to move on to our row. So we're going to use our dumbbell or our can, whatever it is. If you don't have anything, then just do it without. Just hold your hand like this, make a fist. Okay, so we're going to put one hand on the chair. We're going to straighten our back, bend our knees a little bit, so we don't want to be rounded like this. Stick your bum out and straighten your back, and then we're going to row up towards the chest. Think about touching the ceiling with your elbow. Okay, you should feel your upper back muscles and you'll feel your bicep working. Okay, so we're going to do about 8 on each side. Right, try not to do this. Okay, we don't want our shoulder to fall in. That's what happens with us all the time, because we're always sitting like this or holding babies like this. So we want to focus on bringing our shoulder back and down. Okay, so combining this to one more, then we're going to switch sides. You can do this on your sofa, whatever's comfortable, making sure that back's straight. Okay, so we're really trying to focus on bringing the shoulder back and down and not reinforcing those habits of rolling our shoulder in. And through mobility work that we're doing on this little challenge and this strength work, You'll be able to improve your posture and get out of that habit of rolling your shoulders in. Okay, last one. Awesome. Okay, last exercise. We're going to do a single leg deadlift. So standing with your feet together, what we're going to do is send one leg back, bringing your chest as close as you can to the floor, or try and get parallel with the floor, and then standing back up. Okay, that's our movement. It's super challenging if your balance is a bit off. And so many, because the pelvic floor gets damaged, so many mums have issues with balance. The hips get really weak, all the muscles in the bum get really weak. It's really, really common. So this is something that we really want to work on. Single leg balance, single leg exercises, strengthening everything up in the pelvic girdle. Okay, so we're going to do just a few on each side. Try and bend that knee and try and feel that stretch down the back of your leg. Okay, if you're really flexible, you might be able to keep your legs straight, but I'm not. So what we're really trying to do is keep those hips even, okay, so that we're not opening up like this. Let's switch sides. So we don't want to open up like this. You want to keep both hips facing the floor, keeping the back nice and straight. Find that nice stretch down the back here. Okay, and if this is really challenging, I find the mums that often struggle with this the most, the people that often struggle with this the most, are women who had a few children, like 3 or 4 children years ago, and balance tends to get worse as we get older. When we don't deal with it early on, after having babies or through pregnancies and through those childbearing years, sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get it back. Okay, last 2. 1 and last 1. Awesome. Okay, we're going to go back through that sequence. So lying on your back, just going to do 10 exercises, 10 of each. Okay, and if that was enough for you, if that first circuit was enough for you and you feel tired, you can just stop there. Okay, you can always come back to it another day. For those of you that want to, we're going to go back through this second circuit. Okay, with this glute bridge, make sure you're extending all the way to the top. Make sure your feet are nice and wide apart and pushing those knees out at the top. Okay, don't let them fall in. Don't have your feet too close together, your knees too close together. You won't feel your bum that way. Okay, last 2, last 1. I'm totally making up the numbers as I go. Right, standing up. We're going to do our squats. Okay, so maybe you're doing it just to the chair. Maybe you're taking a step forward. Maybe you're squatting a little bit lower than the chair. Let's get really out of breath doing this and talking at the same time. Okay, maybe you're going a little bit lower, maybe a little bit lower than that, but if your knees start wobbling, if they start dancing, or if they start falling in, you want to bring it up just a little bit. And over a number of weeks, you can work on getting lower and lower and lower as you improve your mobility in your hips, as you improve that squat mobility that we've been working on and that we'll continue to work on in the mobility program. Last one. And as you increase your strength, you can get lower and lower and lower. Okay, right. I don't need to be over there. You can do like 8 on each side. Knees bent, hand under your shoulder, nice straight back, and then rowing up, opening up the shoulder, elbow up towards the ceiling. Feel that little kind of pinch in your upper back, in between your shoulder blades. Okay, you can drop your elbow down, your shoulder down. Then you want to open up all the way at the top. You don't want to stay down here. It's not this. You want to open up like this. Last one. Awesome. Switch sides. Okay. Stick your bum out, make your back nice and straight, bend your knees a little bit. You don't want to be like this doing it. 6, 7, wait, what am I doing? I'm not going down on the floor. In my single leg deadlift. Okay, I'm going to start with my left leg this time. Cool, so we're taking that right leg back. Hips nice and square. Do you know why we say square? Because they're not square. Nice and like looking straight at the floor. Shoulders looking straight at the floor. We don't want to be opening up like this. Then we only get the outside of the hamstring. We don't feel that stretch all the way down the back of the hamstring. Last two on this leg. Last one. And other side. We're going to do 8. 2, 3. Like I said, this is a really important exercise for strengthening all of that pelvic girdle. There are lots of other, any exercises on a single leg, like lunges, step ups. Okay, this is a nice starting point, helps us improve our balance at the same time. Last one. Okay, and that's it. So that's it, that was our 10 minutes today. That was our second strength workout. We have another one to come in a few more days. We have core tomorrow and then mobility again when we move up to stage 3. I want to just jump in to say that many of you are going to be just going along swimmingly with the program and feeling like it's just really nice to move, and it's really nice to feel like it doesn't have to be like, you know, all sweat angels and like getting sweaty and hot and jumping around like a headless chicken. But some of you might be feeling like maybe this isn't quite right for me. Some of you might be feeling like it's too hard. And if that's the case, I want to assure you that it's perfectly normal. Through this challenge, we're actually we're mixing up a few different levels of exercises. We started nice and easy with level 1, but if today and yesterday felt a bit too much for you, a bit too much for your wrists or too much for your back, that's so normal. With many of the women that I work with, they need a little bit more at that stage 1 kind of level. And I take that into account and build that into my programs. So for example, on my online program, there's 4 different workouts within level 1 for just for strength, and the same for mobility and the same for core. So some women hang out at level 1 for quite a while. You know, they're really tired, they've got so much going on, and they're only sleeping 3 hours a night, and it's just impossible to do more than that. And it's so normal, and it might be that you're not ready to move up just yet, but there are solutions out there for just hanging out at a lower level for a little while until you're ready to move up a little bit. Some of you will be finding this all too easy, and you'll be thinking, I need to do something harder, I need to be really pushing myself, and I need to really feel my muscles, and I really need to feel sweaty and stuff like that. That's totally fine, and you might need a higher level. It might be too easy for you. But the whole point of this challenge is to break down the entry barrier. So if you think about the reasons why you started this challenge, maybe it's because you've been telling yourself you need to get really hot and sweaty, and you need to work really hard, and you need to work out 5 times a week, and you need to work out for an hour every single time, and it just hasn't been happening. So this is why you joined the challenge, to get you started. And if it's got you started and now you're thinking, oh, this is way easier than I thought, I need to do more, then that's a really good thing. And that's the whole purpose of the challenge, one of the purposes of the challenge, because the other purpose of the challenge is to give a level to give a challenge that is accessible for more women who've had babies, whether recently or a long time ago, because many of us aren't ready for something more intense. Wherever you're at, whether it's easy or hard or just right, I want to remind you that the level doesn't stay like this forever. Even if it's the right level for you now, it does continue to build up. On my online program, it gets gradually harder through 4 or 5 levels, and that's the foundational program. And then you move on to the intermediate program, which is harder than that and longer and heavier weights. And then you can move on to more advanced stuff like doing pull-ups or running or whatever it is that you want to do. So it's just all a sliding scale. There isn't safe postpartum workouts and unsafe exercises. Everything's just about
building up the strength and preparing the body for the things that you want to do wherever you're at. So just keep that in mind. Wherever you're at, whether it's easy, hard, or just right, everything is possible. You can do anything that you want to do eventually. You just may have to build up towards it. Anyway, if you're still with me, I just wanted to throw that in there because it's a really important concept that most people just don't grasp. And most people are on these extremes of like either doing way too much or way too little. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Join me tomorrow for core 2 and the last workout of this stage.